For this demo, I'll be using the Postman activity to connect to the Salesforce Marketing Cloud REST API to inject a contact into another journey if the city the contact in has cloudy weather. I can accomplish this with the Postman activity by connecting to a weather API and retrieve the weather of the city the contact is in. I then have a decision split to determine if the weather retrieved is cloud and then inject them into another journey to receive a weather notification. Firstly, to use the REST API, you need to retrieve a bearer token, the Salesforce Marketing Cloud REST API. So my first Postman activity simply retrieves a bearer token, and then I fetch the weather based on the contact's city, and if it's cloud, then I inject them into a different journey. I'm currently using the Postman desktop application to test my REST API calls before I configure them within Journey Builder. So here is an example of Postman where my method type is post and the base URL for authentication to retrieve a bearer token. And over here is my body, my JSON format. And if I fire this, I will retrieve my access token. This access token needs to be used on all the Salesforce Marketing Cloud REST APIs calls as a header with bearer and then the token type. So now that I've got this working, I can actually copy this configuration to Journey Builder. So we can drag on a Postman activity, and when we configure it, we need to set it to look exactly the same as what we have in the Postman desktop application that is working. We have the method type post. We've set up post. Our base URL is the URL for authentication, and our body is grant type client credentials and client with our client ID and a client secret. My client ID and client secret I have set up as environmental variables, which I can find in demo, and I can click on it and I can paste it in here as well. I've also set up response variables. So our response variables, this is the token that we are retrieving, so this token over here. And the response variable is access token. So I would paste my access token value in here, and it's of type text. We don't have to worry about the code optional part, as this is a simple retrieval of the variable. We can also retrieve the token type, which is bearer, and that's all I currently retrieve. You will also see there are 3 additional variables in here that automatically get included with all Postman calls, and that's Postman error, which is if a REST API throws an error, the error message will be recorded in this variable. We've also got our entire REST request object, which you can find in Postman request, and also the response of the API. These variables can also be saved to help with debugging and so forth. I'm also saving the REST instance URL if you wanted to build the entire activity dynamically. You can grab the REST instance URL directly from here as well. All right. So now that that's set up, I have a weather API to retrieve the weather of my contact. I'm not going to go into depth here, but it's just a get method, and we will retrieve the last weather of the city that the person is in. So here under weather, the Q is the actual city, the city name. So from here, I can just grab the city and I can paste it in there. This will retrieve the variable last weather for me. So under my decision split, I now have a variable called last weather, which I can find under my weather notification. That's my entry, and this get weather custom activity is what I've just set up to retrieve the last weather. You'll also see here's the authentication that we set up in step 1, and the access token, and all of the other variables that we are retrieving from the request. All right, so if it is clouds, the weather type, we want to start a different journey. So over here, we're using the Marketing Cloud API to kick off a Journey Builder event where in our headers, we have our authorization and our access token, which was retrieved from step 1. So if we scroll here to REST 2, sorry, here we go. Here's the access token. We can grab this and we can paste it in here bearer with the token. We could have also used the token type instead of pasting in bearer here. If we wanted to make it more dynamic, we could have had it in this way, seeing that we are fetching the token type, and we are also fetching the REST instance URL. So we would be able to actually replace this entire part over here. This would make the entire activity dynamic, to be able, if in the future you wanted to save this as a template, then you can use this activity wherever you would require. And this over here is all of the entry requirements for the new journey that we want to kick off. And we don't really worry about a response from the journey. We just simply want to kick off the journey. And that is everything about it. So we can activate this.